Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video and welcome to a brand new build. We're starting a new one today, guys. Unfortunately it's upside down. There you go. This is what we're starting today, guys. This is the Tamiya F-15C Eagle. This is the 1/32nd scale version of this plane. This big guy right here. Yeah, good stuff. F-15 being my favorite plane ever built. I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, I've just opened the box. I haven't pulled anything out really so much. Obviously, I've pulled out the instructions. We've got our decal sheet, which Tamiya has stapled the protective film on. There's really not a lot in the way of super personalization on the decal. Yeah, I've got anchorage. I'm not going to be using that. I'm just noticing, you notice on the tail fin we got either the double Z or the AK insignia for anchorage. I don't want to use the AK, but I'm actually not seeing either of them on this decal sheet. So those must be somewhere else in the box. Okay, so let's put those aside. Now I've already gone through the instruction manual. It's kind of neat. Tamiya, it's not quite all black and white. Obviously we've got grayscale here, but then we've got blue. So we have a few photographs in the manual here, but they are black and white. Typical Tamiya, here's how you put glue on, and this is how you paint. And then we get into it. They do have their color chart here for all the different colors they want you to use. One criticism I have with Tamiya is they don't make one color to spray paint the fuselage. Typical F-15s, you've got two colors on your patterns, right? F-15 has a two-tone camouflage, very signature look of the F-15. As you can see here in the decals and painting, right? You get to see the different color patterns. So you've got a light gray and a darker gray, or depending on where it is, from what I've seen in real life pictures, sometimes it's a kind of a medium gray, and then the darker camouflage has almost got a blue tinge to it. I don't know if that's specific to certain regions or whatever, wherever their particular planes are located. I don't know. I really don't know the specifics on that. Never been in the military or the Air Force or anything like that. So I watched a few videos on YouTube on different guys building this particular kit. One guy really sold me on a resin cockpit kit by Aries. Is it Aries or Airs? I don't know. Anyway, so I bought it. And this is it here. This guy here. Okay? So I bought this kit, and this is basically it right here on the camera. Let me move my manual. I'll move the instructions here. This obviously is going to be the first thing I'm going to be working on, and this is all the pieces to it. Okay? So, in anticipation, I pulled it out of the box. It comes with instructions. It even comes with some photo etched parts. So this is it here. It comes with a little photo etched plate with a bunch of stuff and seat belts, which is really cool. And then we've got another little clear plastic thing for the instrument cluster, instrument panel, okay, or the gauges. I don't know what you call it. Anyway, and double-sided page with the instructions on how it all goes together and all that good stuff, including the seat belts and how to put them and put the photo etched parts on. So yeah, it's a nice little kit, and it's extremely detailed. I don't know if my camera will really do it justice on the amount of detail on there. I'm going to try switching cameras. I don't know if I've got audio set up on this particular view, but I'll try. Hopefully you can see the detail on this. It's really very highly detailed in comparison to the actual kit parts, and yeah, it's just very impressive. So let me switch my view back. Okay, I guess I'm not going to find out until I actually look at the video to see whether there was actually audio in that part where I was zoomed in. So one thing I did do, I saw the guy do on one of the videos, after getting rid of like the big block that's at the bottom of the seat. This thing comes with a big square block underneath of it that you've got to cut off. It collected all of the sawdust from it, and then I put some glue on the back cushion, and then I just kind of sprinkled the sawdust down onto it to create texture for the seat cushion, because it was otherwise just smooth like this here. Okay, smooth like the bottom cushion. And so I wanted to have that texture because that looks more realistic when you've got the texture there. So that's what I've done. Let me see if I can get a good zoom in on this, and to show you, you can see that texture there on the seat back. Okay, so after doing that, now I haven't, obviously these two panels, they're going to go like here, right, on this side, so I've got to trim them off of here and then trim them here and here. Okay, opening this up and just looking at this yesterday, actually, was looking at these handles for these. I don't even know what these are, but these go in the back there like that. I don't know if there's some kind of recording things, but these handles, I got 3 of them, and then I noticed there's spots on the other 3 where clearly they'd broken off. So that's kind of the risk factor in resin kits, is they can be very brittle. Now you might notice here I got a big hollow hole here and here. Okay, I've done those myself. I was contemplating putting LED lights through here and then have them just behind the panel here to illuminate the gauges, right? I was contemplating that. I was looking at it, thinking that'd be kind of cool to have some green lighting in the cockpit, and then I could have 2 amber or orange LEDs and have them glow in the engines, right, to look like the engines are fired up. And I actually picked up these super tiny LEDs from the hobby store. These guys here, they're really, really tiny, and just fit together with a little battery, like a watch battery almost, and a super tiny little switch. There's no soldering needed. They all just plug in. It's literally plug and play with light. You know, they get red color to let you know which side's positive, and it all just lines up. And I got a tiny little switch, and they light up. I got a green one for the cockpit and 2 amber ones for the engines. And that's kind of what I'm going to do, right? Thinking that would be pretty cool to do that. But then I was looking at some pictures online of the actual instrumentation of the F-15, and they don't, the gauges don't glow, right? And so, although it might be neat to have a green light in there and they all glow, and I've seen there's a guy who built one and he's got like green and yellow, even orange, 2 different colors glowing in the cockpit. I think it's the F-15E that I think he built. And yes, it's just, it looks cool, but it's not realistic. And so I have decided I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put LEDs in the cockpit. So, that being said, I have another little special kit here for the F-15C. Now this one is by Red Fox Studios. This isn't, well actually it's by Ammo. Again for the 1/32 scale Tamiya kit. These are just the instrument panels with all the gauges, all the buttons and switches already done. And they're actually a 3D texture. So they're bumpy. It's not just a decal. They're actually, they're 3D. So it's everything except for the throttle on there. It's actually got the cutout to put right there and cut out around the throttle. So you know, as detailed as this is, it is very detailed, and every button and switch is sculpted immaculately. I can't paint as good as what this looks like. So I'm going to use these on here, which works out perfectly because I don't have to sand any buttons or anything away. There's no detail on this panel at all. It's perfectly smooth. So I don't even have to sand this down. I only have to sand this little guy here for this piece. Got to sand that down smooth, and then I'll have to sand or file all of these buttons away and all of these buttons away. Sand them down smooth, and then I can put these on. And yeah, that's going to be it for that. They do have the panels here that are supposed to go across here. I might put these ones on. You know what? I should put them on, because then it makes it complete, right? All right, so let's open up the rest of the kit here. So that's the cockpit. Got my seat and my side panels. This panel goes up here, across here, I think, like that, once you trim this big block off of it. I cannot remember what this is for. I'd have to look in the instructions. This goes back down in here. These rails go here on each side of the seat, I think. And then here we've got our joystick, the throttle lever, and then these two little guys, they go on the, I think these two go on the canopy somewhere. So let's just put these aside. Gotta be careful with them. That's the one drawback to these the resin kit, is the plastic can be brittle and can break very easily. So let's take a look here. We've got a bag with some rubber tires, string and screws, and our metal landing gear pieces. This is the landing gear bag. The string, I remember seeing the string in the instructions, but I don't remember what it's for. And we've got what looks like some cardboard pieces in there for some reason. This is one of those rare bags that Tamiya didn't staple closed. They actually sealed it. And we actually even have a tiny little toy screwdriver. Anyway, we have the bottom half of the fuselage. Typical Tamiya, very highly detailed and looks good. And no visible flashing anywhere. And if I flip it over, you're going to see where I did some testing with my spray paint to see what colors I wanted to use to paint this thing. So as you can tell, I've got a good contrast between this color here and this color here. And that's going to be the two that I use. So my main color for the fuselage everywhere is going to be the AS26 light ghost gray. That's what I'm going to be using, okay? And then For my darker camouflage, I am going to be using the TS32 Haze Gray, and that's this. It's kind of got a bluish tinge to it, and so I think those are going to be a good contrast to use for my F-15. As you can see right here, this is the light ghost gray, and this is the haze gray, and I think that's a good contrast between the two, and that'll work pretty good. I think that'll look good. Once we get there, we got some stuff to do. I opened up the bag with the clear parts in it because I wanted to take a look at the canopy. I don't know why Tamiya decided to do this, but they molded this in two pieces, and they've got a big hard line going right across, right down the center of the canopy. They're able to build this thing in their 48 scale and not have that. Why can't they do it with a 32nd scale? They can build F-14s with a 32nd scale and not have this. Why do they do this? Such a disrespect to the F-15 kit. Putting this stupid line down there. So, if I had built this a year ago, I would have left that line there. But I'm not doing that now. I have tools at my disposal. I have my Resin Kit. I even have a polishing compound kit from Dremel that I bought, I don't know, a few months ago, that I could try to get rid of this and totally eliminate that line. I've seen guys use the Tamiya polishing compound and all that stuff. I don't know if I want to go that far and use the Tamiya stuff. I think I can get away with it with my Resin file and all that kind of good stuff. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this because I don't want to stress the plastic. Learning from my Gundam kits, you don't want to stress the plastic, especially when it's clear. So I'm using very light pressure to take off, just little bit by little bit. So the last thing I want is a white spot. I want to cut, but I don't want to put pressure on it. So when you put pressure on it, that's when you stress the plastic, and that's when it turns white on you. There we go. So I got that cleaned up pretty good there. So now all I've got to do is get rid of that stupid mold line through the center of it. The front of the canopy, or the nose, whatever you want to call the forward leading edge, they've got no line at all, so it's nice and crisp and clean and looks beautiful. Yeah, so that's the clear parts. You can just go here for now. What else we got? We got a big bag, great big bag here. What I don't like about Tamiya using staples is it can be hard to get the staple off the bag without it flying somewhere on the floor, and then you run the risk of stepping on it at a later date. more big fuselage parts in this bag. And they were even kind enough to put a piece of foam over there for the front nose. There's our nose cone. Unfortunately, the way they mold this, obviously the cone is straight up, and then they twist it over. You can tell that it's been twisted there on the plastic. Of course, adding stress to it. And stress is bad. Nobody likes stress. I can safely remove this now. Can I safely remove it? I can remove it with some difficulty. There. One way or another, you're coming with me. So there's the two halves of our front fuselage cone with the cone there. This panel goes going to go there, obviously, with our big air brake and our front intake halves. Front intake? Is there a rear intake? No. So why'd you say front? I don't know. Because it goes in the front and it's the intake. That's why. You go over there. We got a little bag with a pair of seats in it. Which tells me they use a lot of the same stuff for the F-15E kit. Otherwise, why would they give you two seats? The F-15C is a single-seater aircraft. So, there's our seats. Now, they put a lot of detail into the cushion, a bunch of lines and stuff like that, and it's not realistic, really, compared to the real thing at all. And in comparison to the photo etch seat, it's pretty good, actually. I'd say it's not bad. It's not quite exact. It's maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe a little thicker here, right? But in comparison, I mean, yeah, you've got a little big line here, but right here you actually have a little cable. Little wire for this is really detailed on here, and you just kind of got this same thing, but it's a little faint. It's not as crisp of a sculpt, right? And so that, and of course there's we got a hollow back, where on this one we've got actual detail in the back of the seat, right? And of course I've got a spare. So we've got two that are the same, and then that guy there. Obviously I'm going to use the other one. I'm still going to assemble the kit cockpit, so don't worry about that. I'm still going to assemble it. You still get to see it, and you can see the comparison between the two. So what do we got here? It looks like we've got the cockpit pieces and some missiles. Let's get rid of this bag. I use my tweezers on here because I can really yank on that without really worrying about it. I could use my needle nose pliers, that would work too. Okay. Yeah, definitely cockpit pieces. There's our main instrument panel there. That's the back wall, or this is more like, this is the tub. Okay. There's the side wall that is the equivalent of that. So, although they did pretty good, it's not bad in comparison to for detail. It's not bad. Just not as much. You can really see all the cables and everything, and kind of where they're going in this, where these just kind of go there and then they disappear in behind this little line. They're just gone. right? So it's kind of like, yep, the detail's there, but once you get to a point where you're not going to see it, we're not going to bother sculpting it. So, and it looks like a lot of similar pieces, like this piece here is this piece here, right? Very similar. I've already hit these with the, I sprayed them already with the Mr. Surfacer 1500 gray. So that's already done. Here's our boxes. Again, just like that. In this particular instance, there's not much difference in the detail. Other than obviously these ones don't have have 3 broken handles. All the handles are there on this one. And there's that. Here's the instrument, all our buttons and switches. This one already has the throttle control on there, it looks like, for the grip. Yeah. Okay, so that's that one. Next. I'm going to use my needle nose just because I can be a little more aggressive in pulling it apart. With the tweezers, I kind of have to make sure that I get under the staple. This looks like tail fins and missiles, and maybe some engine pieces too. All right. Yeah, definitely got some engines. Whoa, those are big. And more engine parts. These little rods, I think they're going to be going around the engines. More missiles and attachments. I think these are actually wheel chocks. This piece, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure. There's one on this side too, so I'm not sure what that is. So that's that one. Next. This looks like more parts of the fuselage. This is the kind of the back where the canopy attaches, and obviously this is part of the canopy. That's going to go like this, doink, like that. These pieces here look like they're at the back of the airplane, back here. These come to a point, right? Yeah, looks like we've got an option of this one is rounded, a rounded tip or pointed tip. That's that. That's all that was in the bag. Okay, one bag just for that. Looks like we've got another engine bag. And a pilot and a ladder. And landing gear. And the radar dish. Pilots. We got 2 pilots. 2 pilots for a single seat aircraft. That's going to be part of the canopy. Engines. That's probably the intake. Ladder. Front landing gear bay, I guess. landing gear pieces, arrestor hook, radar. It's probably radar related. Yeah, definitely the front landing gear bay. Okay. This one's simple enough. This is fuel tank and engine components. And landing gear, main landing gear bay. Right? Fuel tank, engines, intakes, and obviously main landing gear bay pods. And these are part of the intakes also. That's the top half, I guess. Top piece. Could be, I think. But I think it's maybe inside. The ceiling, I guess. And we got another bag, one more bag, final bag with the wings in it. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here's our big main wings and tail fins. Okay. That's all that's in that. Goes back in the box. And then we've got, there's our double Z and AKs. And then we have these. These are all those little red tags you see everywhere on aircraft at the when they're on the land, you know, on the landing strip or whatever. Removed before flight. So these guys go like on missiles and on the landing gear and bay doors and all kinds of things, all kinds of places all over the aircraft. This is just a little sheet of paper, really. It's a rip. Yep. It's just regular glossy paper. That's kind of a neat little detail to add in there, because they don't have this with the their 1/32 scale. The F4 Phantom didn't have these in it, but this one does. So what is this? I'm going to do the double Z. I don't want to do the Alaska one. I want to do the double Z. So that's going to be the 44th FS and not the 18 wing, because the 18 wing goes with the Anchorage and the 44th goes with the double Z. So I don't know where double Z is, but that's not for me to worry about. Okay, so I'm just going to keep these in the box so that I don't lose them anywhere, and because they're on the bottom they won't get wrinkled or anything like that. So first things first is always the cockpit, right? So the first thing I need to do, I've already put a coat of primer on this, so it's ready for some color. Okay, what I want to do first, I'm not going to sand this down first. I don't need to do that first. The first thing I want to do is get this thing painted metallic green. Why metallic green? Because that's what colors they are. And I'm going to show you. I got some pictures online of this thing for real, and here's a perfect picture of the back of the cockpit right there. I don't know who Ken Middleton is. He might be the guy who took the picture. But that is what this thing looks like in real life inside the cockpit on those panels. So they did them kind of a weird green. So I went to the hobby store and I looked for a metallic green. Tamiya doesn't make a nice one, at least not one that matches anything all that well. But I saw Mr. Hobby, or Mr. Color, happens to have a metallic green that I think is going to suit my purpose pretty well. So yeah, I'm going to spray paint it this color. So we'll see what that's going to look like. So now I'm going to put all of these back in the box, kind of in order, kind of not. Because I need to put the box up out of my way so that I can spray paint it. Okay. Now obviously this needs to be painted black, and this needs to be painted black on the top. That can be left gray. But first we'll throw some color on this and we'll see what this looks like painted green. Well, that's definitely green now. Okay, it's definitely green. Even my finger's green. Isn't it? Green thumb is means you're good at gardening or something. That's green now. Admittedly, it feels kind of weird painting it green. You know, I always thought green was like, I don't know, isn't that like more World War II-ish kind of colors? I don't know if this needs to be green or not, but I know these are going to be green. Okay. Alright, just inspecting my work there for a moment, kind of thinking quietly while I look at it. Okay, now, is there a necessity to mask this off? Not if I just hit it in this kind of angle with the black. I'm just going to spray paint it black. I don't think I need to paint it with a brush or anything. I think the spray paint will be fine. I got my TS6. Bring that away. There, the top is black. Let's put it in a spot where you might be seeing it there. Next, grab my little thing here. Grab my thing? No, don't do that. Seat needs some paint. Question is, how do I want to go about painting this? I think I'm just going to hold on to it down on this corner. That's dangerous. There, that's kind of grabbing onto a decent part that won't get noticed. What's going to get missed here, I will touch up with a brush later. Okay, so that's got, I'm going to do 2 coats on this one, just so I can make sure that I get all the angles. Let's get that put in there. And let's do these. Now, they're conveniently enough, these already have a peg on them, but still, I'm going to want to put an alligator clip so I can shove it in there, because it's a little too fat to fit in the hole. Which normally isn't a problem. But that's neither here nor there. So the Tamiya seat is now painted. Now I'm not going to bother putting seat belts in the Tamiya kit, with the Tamiya cockpit. Even though I'm going to assemble it, it's not my priority. So, and I don't see a reason to paint this one because it's a spare, it's an extra, and I don't need it. Let's see. Are you drawing? See, I kind of accidentally painted a little too thick on here for my first coat. Well, thicker than I would normally like. And so this is obviously going to take a little bit longer to dry than normal. So I'll just leave that for a few more minutes before I put a second coat on it. Let's see, anything else I need to spray? I don't think so. I think it might be okay. I think I'm going to take these off of the sprue and hit them with a coat of green. I don't even need to look at the instructions because I've got like almost identical parts in this kit already that I've been looking at. There's that one. This guy. I think these guys need paint too. I'm not sure if these need to be green, but it's not going to hurt. If these turn out, like, I'm going to paint them green, but if it turns out they're black, it's no big deal. This is going to be like the dividing wall kind of thing, like this. So that needs to be painted. I think that's about it. I can take that off. So I can paint this one black too. And that should be good enough for now, I think. Good enough for a start anyway. Let's, where's my knife? I'm not just painting this, I'm actually assembling it, so I need to make sure that I can actually assemble it without too much difficulty. Now, had I not watched the guy's video of him building the Resin Kit cockpit, if I hadn't seen that video and I hadn't seen the detail on the Resin Kit, I would have been perfectly fine assembling this just with the Tamiya kit as it is, and I wouldn't have had an issue. But after seeing that, it was like, you know what? The F-15 is my favorite plane. This is going to be like my favorite aircraft sitting on the shelf. Why not put the detail into it, you know, and just do as good a job as I can. So I decided, why not? Let's go for it. And so I bought the Resin Kit. It's not cheap, I'll tell you that. But I think in the end, it's worth it. Now there's the Tamiya version of it. Come on, get in there. Get in the hole. There you go. Get in your hole. Too good for your home? It's a Happy Gilmore reference. You know what? Before I put the black away, I'm going to do my second coat on my resin seat here. Okay. We're good to go with that. Okay. Put this away. Alright, so we're going to go back with the green, but I want to have these on clips. This one's almost ready to have a second coat applied. Having learned from this piece, I'm applying the paint a little bit lighter coat on these other ones. Come on, I just took you out of there and now you don't want to go in the hole. Here you go. This piece, go like this, and then I can hit both sides at the same time. Okay, next piece. It's nice that they have a little groove on the back for me to put my clip on in there. It's those. One more panel piece. Don't know where exactly this guy goes. Probably at the very back. It's probably like this. Something like that. Probably. And this probably is part of the... It's not going to go in the front. It's not going to slide through, so it's got to be the back panel. Like this. Well, let's just take a look. Is it the back panel? Yes, it is. It's the same exact thing. So definitely the back panel, but obviously this continues through because otherwise, you know, there's how big it is, right? So I can safely clip here, and it won't interfere with anything. It won't interfere with anything. Rest assured, English is my first language. Even if I don't speak it properly, English is my first language. Okay, so this one, I don't need to put it on a clip, but just to make things easier for moving it around and not spraying my fingers too much, because I've already sprayed them pretty good. There's a lot of different surface textures in this cockpit that, especially in the resin piece, there's not a lot to assemble, and so it's a little bit difficult with these. I'm sure with an airbrush you can always turn down your pressure or how much paint comes out and all that, so you can really get in all the cracks, create cracks and crevices. But with a spray can, it's definitely more difficult to get in all the little corners, because when you try to get in there and get in close, suddenly you're putting the paint on really thick, and you don't necessarily want to do that. So yeah. Okay, so now I've got the first coat on all of the Tamiya parts, and I now have a second coat on this one, sort of. I might wind up having to actually spray a little bit into a dish and hit it with a brush to get in all the little spots. There's like right in here in this corner, there's this little lever. It's hard to get in there with the can to spray it in there, and similar on this side here. It's hard. It's just I'm not getting full coverage in there, and obviously I didn't spray on this angle here, so I didn't get the side of this, but the panel's going to go on there, so I'm never even going to see this. So that detail is moot. Yeah. So let's take a look at my black coverage on here. I think I'm just going to paint under here with a brush to get this detail black rather than spraying it, because that way I get to just leave this gray like it's supposed to be. And it looks like I got some decent coverage on there. Maybe not there. I might have to touch that up there. Maybe on the front. But that's dry, so I can put aside. I don't know this detail here. Never going to see it. Is this going to fall apart on me? It's very loose. Ah! Well, so much for that clip. That ain't going to stay together no more. I guess it will. There we go. Fixed. Yeah. You're not going to see this detail at all. It goes in there like this and sits down there, and you literally can't see. You can't see in there. It's you just can't. There's no reason for that detail at all, other than you know it's there, right? Now, could I carve this out? This had a big block I had to carve off. Huge block to carve off of this thing. Anyway, whether or not this is supposed to be all carved out so that you only have these little arms, I don't know. Like I said, it's a detail that you're never going to see. So in comparison, they have nothing on this one. It's just the top only. So there's, as far as the sculpt goes, they look very similar. They may have added the thing on here that they didn't on the Tamiya, because there might be a piece that glue on there. But yeah, there's that. Our seat should be done now. So I'll have to touch that up with a brush. That's not easy. That's not hard to do. Or I could actually just put this over on this side and then hit that with the black spray. Either way works. Our Tamiya seat should be good to go. Yep, we got good coverage, although we got a little bit thick, so it's still a little bit, looks like it's going to be tacky if I touch it, so I'll just leave it. And that's that. How are we looking? Yeah, I put it on much thinner, so this is dry already. And they're looking nice and green and shiny. Although, I don't know if the camera's showing it right there. So if you look there, you can see all these dots. The paint didn't really go too well, so I kind of want to sand that down and redo it a little bit. Let me see here. I think I got a piece of sandpaper sitting around that I can use. Just yeah, see right away it's just taking the paint off. So I'm gonna let that cure. Gotta let it cure and not play around with it too much. Now, the detail on here though, I have choices. I can either use my knife to cut it off. It's always kind of cool using something like this, and you scrape away at the knobs and get the paint off of it, and it looks like, hey, look at that, they're all switches and everything, and that's always cool. But I need to actually carve them off so that my pieces have a nice smooth surface to stick to. Now, could I could use my sanding stick, but It's a little bit too much work. I do have a little metal file here. Now this makes short work of knobs really efficiently. So much that I don't even have to put a lot of pressure down to clear those away. And then I'm going to have a nice smooth surface for my special guys to go on, to stick to. And that's looking pretty good just like that. It's probably, I think that's plenty smooth enough. So now let's move on to this side and clean these up. It seems it's a shame to have to clean off such nicely sculpted detail. Like, I can imagine the person who sculpted it being a little upset. Like, you get rid of all of my hard work. The idea here is to get down to a nice smooth surface. Do I feel any bumps? Is it smooth? Is it going to stick when I try and glue it? That's the main thing, right? And I think we're good. Maybe I need a little more work here. There we go. Okay, so if I didn't have those pieces, I'd be really dumb because I just filed away all the details on it, right? And that's no good. We want details on it, right? Right. So I'm not going to do those just right now, but it's in preparation for them. I'm going to test the fit right now to see, is there any trimming I need to do, that kind of thing. So they even give me instructions on where they all go. It's kind of stuck to this thing, but it's kind of a one-time use. Once you take them off of here, they don't stick again, right? So what I kind of want to do is cut them off of here. We'll just cut them out, really. I don't think it's, no, it's just regular cardboard. Funny enough, they're actually easy to cut. You can accidentally cut them out. Okay, So there's one, so I just want to see how this is going to look on there. Is there any trimming I'm going to have to do? It looks like I am. Obviously this is meant to go on a kit that doesn't have as much detail, or detail that you add after. Like these cables that are going across here are actually laying on top of the panel. And so this panel is sculpted to fit all the way back to this little block. But because of these cables, it doesn't fit. So I need to decide what I'm going to do about that. I could try to cut underneath these cables, and then take them off, put the panel down, and then put them back down on top. I don't know what purpose the cable serves. I'm going to try cutting it. And if I accidentally break it, then, well, so be it. Because this stuff is so, it's almost fragile. This resin stuff is not very, it's not super forgiving. Which means I'm going to have to make lots of passes with minimal pressure. But I am almost all the way through already. Okay, well, I made it back to that panel. Just need to clean up and make sure it's flat and smooth. See, if I move this any more up, it's just going to break off. But I'm pretty much at the point where I could probably slide that under. If it falls off, it falls off. If he dies, he dies. There's a knob here I'm going to have to get rid of. Okay, so why don't you just break off? Alright, let's just put him here and hopefully he stays. Okay, so all the trouble I went to cutting it out It's come off of the thing anyway. So there's our piece. It still doesn't quite fit underneath. It's so close to fitting, but it's not quite. It's so close, but not quite. That piece can come off. And then I don't think I'm going to have this same issue on the other side because there's no detail like this. Okay, another test fit. And we're there. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to be gluing that down with CA glue to make sure. I'll change this so you can see. Where'd my cardboard go? So there you go. So that's how they're going to look. So I'm going to be careful taking this out of there now. These are a little bit fragile. They are, if you bend them, they will snap. They will break on you. So it's you have to be careful. And as you can see, even though I try and stick that down on there, it's not sticking. I don't know what they do to get these to stick on there, but they only stick once, and once you pull it off of there, it ain't going back. And all you got to do is bend the cardboard a little bit, and they come off. So that's just the way they are. So that is the one thing I would say if you want to get one of these kits. It looks like it's made by Ammo. So it's got the Ammo brand label on there, right there. It's kind of hard to see. But Red Fox Studios is where I bought it from online. And they are very highly detailed. It looks realistic. It's fantastic. I don't know if I would bother with like a scale other than 1/32 scale because it's so small, and the expense is quite high. This is not a cheap little kit. I think after converting to Canadian and shipping and everything, I think this thing cost me, just this little kit cost me about $70 in the end. Of course, if you live in America, you get it a lot cheaper, but up here in the Canadas, yeah, it's too expensive. And I would not have bothered if this was any other kit. I would not have bothered. But this plane being my favorite plane, I figured I would go and spend the money on it. Okay, hopefully that's gonna look a little better when I hit it with the green again. Where'd my green go? There it is. Okay, very light coat, let it dry. I'm going to do a second coat on this one. Alright, I have these guys here I need to do some extra coats on. These are my side panels for the resin kit. So, these, I don't think these are going to be green. I think these are going to be black because we have these in here and they're the same things but they're all black. So I'm not going to bother with another green coat on those. But this sidewall needs another coat. And the back wall needs a coat. And our boxes need another coat. And our intermediate wall, for lack of a better term. There we go. Now my finger and thumb are really green. And it really stinks in here now. Simply because this paint stinks a little more than Tamiya. There we go. That looks a little better. Well guys, I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to let all this paint dry and do a little bit of panel lining in the back here, a little bit of wash. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that for now, guys. I want to thank you all for coming out. Thanks for watching. You guys on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, right in the middle there's a little like button. That'd really be appreciated if you hit that like button. Really helped me out a lot. And if you're going to hit the like button, why not just move over to a little bit to this side over here, and there's a subscribe. That would be cool too. But in the little comment box, there's a link to my Twitch channel, and you can go on my Twitch channel, and you can watch me there. You can actually send me a DM on my Twitch, because my DMs are open on my Twitch channel. That is www.twitch.tv/duplicitous_29. There's a link in the box there. You can click on that, and you can also follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch, and you can watch me live, and you could ask me questions. You could tell me how I'm doing things wrong. You can tell me I'm funny looking. You can do whatever you like. You can chat. That's what this little black box is all about. I got this little black box right down here in this corner here. That's because I can see you and I can read what you're typing. Obviously, nobody's typed anything today. That's okay though. I don't mind that. I don't mind it, but I would prefer to chat with you guys. I'd love that. It'd be great. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming out. Thanks for watching. Just close my little pictures here and all that fun stuff. If you want to see still pictures of my builds, I always upload a few pictures of everything that I build onto my Instagram, and once again, the link's down in the comment box below. So, with that being said, thanks guys, thanks for coming out. I'm going to leave it at that. That's going to be part 1 of this build. Obviously not really getting anything assembled quite yet, but we'll be working on that and getting a few things put together in part 2. So yeah, that'll be it for today guys. So thanks again for coming out, thanks for watching, and we're going to see you all in the next one.